Oh, and I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this because this is like, I don't know what to do with this, but I saw it and I thought we should address it, especially after that Gollum review has done well. Fozzie Mesmar tweeted out a retweet of the Gollum post. So this was the thing where they apologized for how bad it was. Opera GX. This game sucks. Release it. So they came out and they were like, yeah, we know it sucks. Sorry, we're going to work on fixing it. Who cares? And this guy is the VP Global Creative at Ubisoft, award-winning designer, author, and public speaker, serial expat. One of the Habibi's opinions are my own. So I don't know what global creative is, but it's something at Ubisoft. Said it would be great if we all exercise empathy and kindness. If we remember that there are people on the other side reading what we write, that most people have the best intent, that they want to do good games, and that piling on them with more negativity for clicks is very cruel. So listen, yeah, this applies for doubly to game devs. You of all people should understand and relate. And then Ramby replied, I agree, but also stop releasing utterly beyond belief broken games. And then shared the list of all of these apologies that have come out relatively recently of just broken garbage games. So I understand the sentiment and I agree. Like, this is where I was kind of conflicted in my review, where I was like, I feel bad. I feel bad saying this feels like an amateur title. I don't know how they possibly released it in this state. I think there's bafflingly stupid design decisions. It's like nobody checked this before it released. Like, I went through and I tried to describe that I don't enjoy this. I don't revel in tearing something like this apart. But frankly, at the end of the day, if you're charging $60 for a product and it's a broken pile of garbage, it's not my fault, okay? If it hurts your feelings that I'm mean about it or that I don't accept it, too bad. You're the one that tried to sell it to me for $60. In the same way that, like, if I order a steak at a restaurant and they bring me out a raw pork chop and it's just a total disaster, like, it's not what I ordered, it's raw, it's gonna get me sick, it's disgusting, like, it's just across the board is a failure. And then I tell you, like, are you guys drunk back there? How did this possibly come to the table? And are you seriously going to try to charge me the $30 for the steak or the $50 for the steak or whatever it's going to be? I'd be like, are you out of your damn mind? You're out of, like, what happened? This is unacceptable. And I'm probably not going to be too nice about it because you tried to serve me a raw pork chop and charge me $50 for it, telling me that it's a steak. You know, like, I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but it's not my problem. You were the one that screwed up. So I understand what he's saying. Listen, be nice. And of course, I would never defend people who are, like, trying to dox the devs, or people who are, like, trying to get a hold of their personal information, or like death threats and things that people have been known to do. That's all totally unacceptable. And I totally agree. They should not deal with that. And anybody who makes death threats like that, at least in the US, should be charged under federal law for threats of violence and terroristic threats, which has happened before. So before you think that you can just, like, make death threats on Twitter and get away with it, just know that that's a federal crime and you can't do that. And of course, I think that that's great. You shouldn't be allowed to just do that willy-nilly. But my freedom of speech. Yeah, you're threatening to kill somebody. Shut up. Like, I don't care. But anyway, with this, I agree we shouldn't be needlessly cruel. However, if you try to sell me a broken pile of garbage, I'm allowed to be upset and to voice my frustration. I don't know if he was calling out anybody in particular. I don't know if this, I'm not saying, like, I don't think this was, like, an attack at any one person. I'm sure he's seeing some pretty nasty stuff on social media about the game. But frankly, the game was laughably horrible. It just is. Like, it just is. And pretending as though, well, we need to be nice about it. I get it. Don't be horrible. If that's what you want to say, like, if this whole thing is just don't be a disgusting piece of crap, I agree. But at the same time, I don't think that I don't think we should walk back or sugarcoat any of this. If somebody sells you something horrible or tries to get away with selling you something horrible and broken, you're allowed to call them out for it. Don't be needlessly evil and cruel, but like, you should call them out for it. Put down the product and not the people behind it. I guess it depends on what you mean by put down. I think that you should, in cases of like I mean, let's just use Gollum. In that game, there are design choices that are baffling, that are not even just a question of taste or a different methodology or something. They're just bad decisions. Like the example I gave of Mount Doom being in the background and putting a massive boulder in front of it. That's a bad decision. It just is. The weird basic Arial font that they use, when in previous demos and things, they showed a different font that looked way better and didn't look like a placeholder. That was a bad choice to have that basic Arial font that looked like a placeholder and probably was. That was a bad choice. So for me to be like, I don't know the creative director, I don't know who made these decisions, but whoever made these decisions made bad decisions. And maybe that's mean, but it's just a bad choice. It shouldn't have been done like that. And if the game director feels attacked, okay. But I mean, frankly, you're the one that wanted to direct this game, that chose to take it on. And as with any head of any company or business or anything, if you take on that responsibility, you are the one who bears the brunt of responsibility if it doesn't work out. If you release a book and then people are like, hey, this book sucks. And then you're like, why are you attacking me? What did I do? Like, you wrote the book. It's your fault that the book sucks because you wrote it. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be needlessly cruel or vindictive or anything, but it's your fault that the book sucks. If my book sucks, you can laugh at me. I have no problem with that. See? And that's, I think, the standard that we should set. If you are the game director, like Todd Howard going out on stage and taking responsibility for Starfield or for Fallout 4 or for Fallout 76, whether he was the one that directly caused the bugs in the game or not, he is the one at the helm. In the same way that if you're the captain of a ship and the ship sinks, the captain's the one that gets looked at. Like, and it's why for a long time, I don't think it's the standard now, but the standard that has long been established is that, you know, the captain goes down with the ship. And the whole idea is that the captain is the one in charge of it all. And so if the ship goes down, he's going to, at the very least, be the last person off the ship. That's what it should be. Unless you're, the Costa Concordia. or was it the Oceanic? I saw a Sunbright Films documentary about it, something like that. Accountability in 2023, where have you been? Oh, golly. In a different industry, if you make a massive mistake that loses money or ruins a brand, you'd be fired on the spot. Yeah, and realistically, I mean, if you are a game director and you direct a game that's received horribly, you would normally, like, get fired. I think that that's the standard. I think you aren't going to be directing another game. In the case of something like, Bethesda, let's just be honest, Todd Howard, we can be like, hey, what the hell was Fallout 76? And yeah, he was at the helm of the company and he should take responsibility for it. Kind of like what Phil Spencer did, where Phil Spencer was like, I understand Redfall was not what people wanted and we bear some responsibility for that. We need to do better. He tried to take responsibility where he could, but should Phil Spencer be fired because Redfall launched buggy? That to me is probably not accurate. I think you should go to the person that's actually at the helm responsible for it, like the director of Redfall is responsible for Redfall just being a bad game. Like, he directed it poorly, the vision was bad, and the game sucked as a result. Pretty simple. I don't think that's controversial. Was Todd Fallout 76's director? No, Todd was credited as, I believe it was labeled a creative director or a creative, basically they just wanted to put his name on the box. Harvey Smith, that sounds right. It wasn't Todd. Todd was like creative consultant, basically. He took my thing.